Hello students, in this video I'm going to show you the long tail cast on method. To work the long tail cast on method, you don't make a slip knot at the end. For the knit cast on method, we made a slip knot leaving a length of yarn at the end over here. Okay, but for long tail cast on method, we leave a long end which is known as the tail, and we make a slip knot somewhere over here. Okay, and the remaining continuous yarn, the ball thread, is known as the working thread. Okay, this is known as the working yarn, which is the continuous yarn which is wound on the ball, and the other end, which is on the left hand side over here, okay, this end is known as the tail. This is known as the tail yarn. Now we have to make a slip knot somewhere over here. Now, how to make a slip knot over here? How do we know how much yarn to leave? Now, depending on the number of stitches, you have to leave the yarn. So for that, there's a method of checking how much of yarn you need. Okay, for the long tail cast on method, we need only one needle. Okay, so what I do is, I check my instructions. According to my instructions, I have to cast on 10 stitches. So I just leave 3 to 4 inches end, and I wind the yarn on my needles very loosely. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so 10 times I wind the yarn. Okay, so this is the place where I have to make the slip knot. Okay, this is the place where I have to make the slip knot. So I just unwind the thread and I make a slip knot over here. To make a slip knot over here, all of you know that we have to make the alphabet E, okay, and then I make my slip knot. There are different methods of making a slip knot. Okay, so I follow this method, and then I tighten my loop. When I'm inserting the needle, you have to insert the needle keeping the short end, okay, that's the tail yarn, on the left hand side, and the ball yarn, the working yarn, will be on the right hand side. And I insert my needle and I tighten the yarn, the loop, tighten the loop. Then this is how I hold the yarn. I take the slip knot and I place it in between my thumb and my index finger. I take the yarn over my thumb and I hold it with my little finger and my ring finger. I take the working yarn and I pass it over my index finger and I again hold it with my little finger and my ring finger. Okay, so I hold it like this, and here we start a long tail cast on. I have to lift the long tail yarn, and I pick my working yarn and I tighten it up. So I have 2 stitches over here. The first stitch was my slip knot stitch. I repeat again. Oh, my stitches come out. Okay, let's do it again. Okay, this happens. So I have my slip knot. I lift my tail yarn and I pick the working yarn and I tighten it. So I have 2 stitches. Again, I lift my tail yarn and I go to my working yarn and I pick my working yarn. So the working yarn forms the stitch. I lift my tail yarn and then I go to the working yarn and I pick it up on the needle. So my working yarn forms the stitch. I tighten the thread, the yarn. I do it again. I lift my tail yarn and I go to the working yarn and I pick the working yarn. Okay, so the working yarn forms the stitch on the needle. See, I go on doing till the required number of stitches are met. Now, according to my project, I have to cast on 10 stitches. So I go on doing this way. Okay, this way. You have to see that when you are doing this, Okay, you have to maintain your thread tension to get even stitches. You have to get even stitches. Okay, so you go on doing this. Suppose by mistake, say you have casted on more number of stitches. Say you have more number of, let me see how many stitches I've got. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10, which means I've got 3 stitches. So all what I do is I push the 3 stitches off the needle and I drop them out. Okay, see, I drop them out and I pull the yarn. Okay, so I have my 10 stitches. Thank you.